It started like every great love story does, unexpectedly. Nia Brooks was never one to believe in fairy tales. At 33, she was a rising star in Atlanta's real estate scene, with a downtown condo, designer heels, and a heart still bandaged from a rough breakup 2 years prior. Love, she had decided, would have to wait. Her life was full: clients, closings, and conference calls. Until the day she met Cameron West. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon, and Nia was closing up after a property tour in Midtown when he walked in, soaked to the bone, flashing a sheepish smile and a dimple that could melt glaciers. He said he was lost, looking for the new tech incubator next door. She offered him a towel and a seat while he figured out directions. They ended up talking for over an hour. He was charming, funny, smart. A software developer who had just relocated from Chicago to launch his own startup. He had that balance of ambition and humility, vulnerability and confidence that made her, against her own instincts, give him her number. And he called. Every day. Within weeks, they were inseparable. Late-night dinners. Spontaneous getaways. Wine-soaked Sunday afternoons on her balcony, where he spoke about his childhood, his dreams, and a future he hoped she'd be part of. And the way he looked at her, like she was the only person in the world, Nia began to believe in fairy tales again. 6 months later, he proposed. It was private, perfect. Just the two of them at Lake Lanier, under the soft gold of the setting sun. No over-the-top gesture. Just raw, quiet sincerity. She said yes. Friends called it a whirlwind. Her mom warned her to slow down. You don't really know someone in 6 months, she said. But Nia had never felt safer, more seen. The wedding was small, intimate, and beautiful. A rooftop ceremony in downtown Atlanta. Laughter, tears, and dancing under string lights. Cameron's vows moved everyone to tears. "You're my peace, Nia," he said, voice trembling. "You're the first person who's made me believe I deserve real love." Everything seemed perfect. Until it wasn't. 3 weeks after the wedding, Nia noticed something odd. She was logged into her online banking app to review her expenses when she realized her joint savings account, the one she had opened just before the wedding with $72,000 in it, wasn't there. Gone. Like it had never existed. She refreshed the app. Still nothing. Her heart started to race. She called her bank. After a long hold, a customer rep came on the line and calmly explained that the account had been closed 2 days ago. The funds had been transferred to an external account under a name she didn't recognize. "What do you mean it was closed?" Nia asked, her voice rising. "I never closed anything." The rep confirmed the closure was authorized online. From a registered device. With the correct security questions answered. Nia felt like the air had been sucked out of her lungs. The only other person with access? Cameron. Nia tried calling him immediately. No answer. She texted. Nothing. She called again, 5 times. Straight to voicemail. Panic gave way to dread as she drove to the co-working space where his startup was based. The receptionist gave her a puzzled look. "Cameron West," she said. "He hasn't been in for over a week. Last we heard, he moved back to Chicago." "Back?" Nia repeated. "Back to where?" But the receptionist shrugged. "Didn't leave a forwarding contact." She went home and tore through his things. His laptop. Gone. His suitcase. Gone. Even the framed photos of them. Gone. Just like that, Cameron had vanished. Desperate, Nia hired a private investigator. 3 days later, the report came back. There was no record of a Cameron West born in Chicago in 1986. No college enrollment. No business license. No social security records that matched. The name was either fabricated or borrowed. The startup. Never registered. Even the condo lease he'd supposedly signed? Fake documents. The landlord had been subletting short-term. Nia sat on her kitchen floor, gripping the file, her hands trembling. She hadn't married a man. She had married a ghost. For 2 nights, Nia didn't sleep. She sat in the dark with her wedding ring on the table, staring at the place Cameron used to sit every morning, sipping coffee like he wasn't a professional liar. Every memory became suspicious. Every word, a lie. Her heartache twisted into something colder, rage. But what haunted her most was not just the money, it was the way he made her feel like home. Like he saw her. She had to know, who was this man? And how many others did he ruin before her? So she went back to the private investigator. I need everything, she told him. His real name, where he came from, and if he's done this to someone else before. It took a week. But when the investigator returned, he laid out a file that made Nia's knees go weak. Cameron West wasn't real. His real name was Darren Cole. Age, 38. Born in Baltimore. No college degree. No startup. No tech job. Just a long trail of false identities, burner phones, and scammed women, from North Carolina to Illinois. And Nia wasn't the first. She was the fifth. Nia stared at the photos in the file. A woman named Jasmine. Another named Alicia. One from Charlotte. One from Detroit. All with eerily similar stories. Fast romance. Lavish gestures. Wedding plans or promises of them. Then, poof, disappeared. Along with their savings. Some were too ashamed to come forward. Some had tried to go to the police, but with no real name, no proof of violence, and consensual money transfers, most of their cases had been ignored. Romance scam, the PI said, grimly. He's a ghost with a good smile and no conscience. Nia felt something shift. She had money, a voice, and now, a mission. She found the contact info for Jasmine, a nurse from Charlotte, and called her. Her voice shook when she answered. Nia, she whispered. He married you too. The women met over Zoom. 5 of them. All smart, beautiful, successful, and all left shattered in the same way. One had lost her college fund. Another her mother's inheritance. But what struck Nia most was how similar Darren's Cameron persona was in each case, like he had a script. Same tragic backstory. Abusive childhood, early orphan, self-made man. Same grand gestures. Same vulnerabilities. And the same moment of, I want to build a life with you. Let's start by opening a joint account. It was psychological warfare. He watched us, Jasmine said. Learned what we needed. And became that. The group decided to fight back. They started a blog, The Ghost Husband Files, telling their stories. They contacted consumer watchdogs. Tagged major outlets. They wanted exposure. And it worked. A local Atlanta reporter reached out. Then a segment aired on the evening news, The Charm Thief, Women Scammed by the Same Man Speak Out. And just days later, they got a lead. An anonymous email arrived in Nia's inbox. Subject: I know where Darren is. The message was short. He's in Miami. Goes by Eli. Drives for a luxury car rental service. Lives with a woman named Danny. She thinks he's a retired investor. There was an address. A photo. And it was him. Same dimples. Same jawline. Same lying eyes. Nia's hands shook as she called the detective she had connected with after the story aired. There's a chance we can nail him for fraud across state lines, he said. But we need one of you to go on record. Nia didn't hesitate. I'll do it. 2 weeks later, Nia flew to Miami. She sat outside the luxury apartment building the tipster mentioned, waiting. And then, there he was. Smiling. Holding a coffee. Arm around a woman who looked like she had no idea she was sleeping next to a con man. Nia's throat closed. She snapped photos. Called the detective. Gave them everything. And then, without thinking, got out of the car. He didn't see her at first. But when he did, his face froze. Nia, he said, like it was all a casual surprise. "You robbed me," she said, loudly, so others would hear. "You married me, stole my money, and disappeared. How many names are you using now?" Danny turned toward them, confusion spreading across her face. "Who is she, Eli?" she asked. And that's when Nia saw it. The panic in his eyes. The unraveling of his next lie. The police didn't come immediately. But the moment Nia returned to her car, heart thudding in her chest, she sent every bit of evidence to the detective. Photos, video, the address, and Danny's name. Within 24 hours, an arrest warrant was issued. And 2 days later, Darren Cole, aka Cameron West, aka Eli Monroe, was taken down on the sidewalk outside the same Miami apartment where he had started a new life built on stolen love and stolen money. The video made the rounds fast. Darren, handcuffed in a crisp white button-down, shouting, "This is a mistake," as officers shoved him into the back of a police cruiser. Danny stood frozen in the doorway, staring at the man she thought she knew. And Nia. She watched from a rented SUV a block away. Silent. Shaking. But finally, vindicated. What started as a local fraud investigation in Atlanta ballooned into a multi-state legal case. Once Nia and the other women went public, more survivors came forward. 12 in total. Each with a different name, different state, different love story. But the same end. Vanished funds. Vanished man. A gaping hole in their lives where love used to be. The DA pursued charges across Georgia, Illinois, Michigan, and North Carolina. Identity theft. Wire fraud. Marriage under false pretenses. Money laundering. And in some cases, bigamy. Turns out, Darren had legally married 3 of the women, at the same time. His trial was set for national attention. The story had gone viral, even picked up by Dateline and ABC's 2020. People were fascinated. How could so many smart women be fooled by the same man? When the trial began in Atlanta, the courtroom was packed. Nia sat on the witness stand, her voice steady, eyes never leaving Darren's face as she spoke. "I didn't lose money," she said. "I lost peace. I lost trust in my own judgment. And I'm still rebuilding the life he tried to take from me." One by one, the other women testified. Each story mirrored the next, like a chorus of heartbreak sung in different keys. The prosecution presented timelines, financial records, forged documents, and a digital trail that left no doubt. Darren was a predator, and love was his weapon. His defense tried to claim it was all consensual, that the women gave him access, that he never forced anyone to do anything. But the jury wasn't buying it. On the final day of trial, the judge looked at Darren with a cold glare. "You used affection as a tool, marriage as a mask, and love as a lie." He was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. It didn't end there for Nia. In the months after the verdict, she launched a non-profit called Hearts Reclaimed, a support network for survivors of emotional and financial relationship fraud. She appeared on morning shows, podcasts, panels, sharing her story not as a victim, but as a warning and a war cry. One clip went viral on TikTok. "Scammers don't always hide in dark alleys," she said. "Sometimes, they buy you flowers, look you in the eye, and promise forever." Women across the country flooded her inbox with messages like, "I thought I was the only one. Thank you for speaking out. You helped me leave." She wasn't just healing, she was leading. 1 year later, on the anniversary of her wedding day, Nia stood at the edge of a beach in Tybee Island. She held her wedding ring in her palm. The one Darren had slipped onto her finger with a vow soaked in lies. She didn't cry. She didn't rage. She just whispered, "I release you," and tossed it into the sea. The waves took it. And with it, the last piece of a chapter she was finally ready to end. Nia Brooks never asked to be the face of a movement. But when love broke her, she used the shards to build something stronger. She learned that truth doesn't always wear a villain's face. Sometimes it looks like love. But real love doesn't gaslight. It doesn't steal. It doesn't vanish without a trace. Real love stays.